There will be no pouting, no complaining, no crying, no talk of depression or loneliness on this Valentine's Day.
It's time to exhale and be motivated. Annie's Blue Couch. Yeah.
Hey, Annie's crew. Happy Black History Month and happy Valentine's Day. If you're married or in a relationship, make sure you love on your partner today and make sure he or she knows that they don't have to compete with anyone for your unconditional love. And if you're single, honey, love on you. You hear me? There will be no pouting, no complaining, no crying, no talk of depression or loneliness on this Valentine's Day. Go get you some chocolate, some sushi, a warm, cozy blanket, and a remote control. Listen, Mr. or Mrs. Right will come when the time is right. Until then, enjoy your own company. Check out my single and happy video. I shared it a few weeks ago. The link is right here, and I'll leave it in the description box below as well. Just in case you need a little bit of encouragement, especially today on Valentine's Day, to enjoy being single. So make sure to check it out. Now, we are still in Black History Month, and I am still celebrating my beautiful, intelligent, creative, brave African American men and women. For today's deep dive, keeping with the theme of love, I wanted to touch interracial marriage. For a very long time, and still today in certain families, no matter the background or religious beliefs, the stance has been date your own race. And for non-Black families, please, please don't bring home no Black girl or no Black boy. And honestly, even within some of the Black community, if you dare to date non-Blacks, you may be considered a sellout. Now, I'm not going to get into dissecting these perspectives that I've mentioned. Rather, for today's deep dive, I want to celebrate the choice you have to marry Black or white without legal ramifications or having to worry about your life being in danger because of some truly brave couples in America. Leave me a comment down below on your thoughts on interracial relationships. I, for one, am all for it. I understand there may be some level of challenges in them, but what relationship doesn't have challenges, right? I've never dated outside of my race, but I'm not against it. I honestly never grew up around other races like that to even have the option per se, but if a white guy or an Asian guy or any race other than Black approached me as someone they were interested in dating, I wouldn't say no just because of their race. I would totally try it out and see what happens. Right now, I wouldn't. So don't come in my DMs because ain't nobody got time for that. But I'm all for loving beyond your race. And that's one of the messages of Black History Month. Put race and skin color aside and truly appreciate and love and value each other. Interracial marriage in the United States was banned in 1664 and not overturned for over 300 years. I'm like at a loss for words at this bit of information. 300 plus years. It wasn't until 1967 that interracial marriage in the United States became legal across all the states. That was only 54 years ago. Like, I just don't understand. I've come to find out in my personal deep dive that there were many couples whose interracial relationships changed history. For the purpose of Black history in America, I'm going to specifically discuss the white and Black interracial relationships that have changed our history. I want to bring one of these couples to the forefront to start today's deep dive. Kip Rhinelander and Alice Jones. I start here because their marriage was so scrutinized by the media and their own families that they were eventually divorced because of it all. This relationship was distinct because it dealt heavily with the labeling of colored and white. Kip was a white man born into a prominent New York family, and Alice was the biracial daughter of a working class couple. They met in 1921 and married 3 years later in 1924. Kip's family held a high position in society. Therefore, their marriage was listed in the New York Social Register, which is how Kip's family found out about their marriage. Alice became the first Black woman to appear in its pages, and the media went crazy, as it always does on any hot topic. Kip's family demanded that he divorce Alice, and the couple's marriage was put on trial. Though they expressed truly being in love with each other, Kip's lawyers centered the trial around Alice's supposed deception of passing herself off as a white woman. As if to say, Kip would not have in his right mind ever married a Black woman. The trial boiled down to a question of whether or not Kip knew of her mixed heritage, which he absolutely did. Then, in a grossly demeaning, degrading, disrespectful move before an all-white, all-male jury, Alice was ordered to strip off her clothes so the jury could determine if she was to be considered colored. This is why I said last week, you need Jesus to process some of this stuff. I need Jesus to process some of this stuff. It's insane to me what Black people have gone through in this country. Now, they actually ruled in her favor, and the annulment of their marriage was denied. However, Kip succumbed to the pressure of his family and the media, and he did divorce Alice, but he was ordered to pay a yearly allowance to Alice for the rest of her life, but they never reunited. Several years later, another couple would have their interracial relationship challenged. They were the Lovings. What a great name for an interracial couple to have. For any couple to have, really. In 1953, after being in a long-term committed relationship, Mildred Dolores Jeter and Richard Perry Loving found out they were about to have a baby. So they decided it was time to get married. And at this time, there were several states where interracial marriage was legal. Virginia was not one of them, and Virginia is where they lived. They decided to go to Washington, D.C. to get married, and they did that and then came back to live in Virginia. Well, on July 11th, 1958, newlyweds Richard and Mildred Loving were asleep in bed when 3 armed police officers broke into their home and burst into their bedroom and took them to jail for the crime of getting married. Well, they were found guilty, with the judge informing Mildred that as long as you live, you will be known as a felon. They were later able to convince the judge to allow them to leave Virginia, and they moved to Washington, which was considered relatively safer. But they had built their lives in Virginia and really wanted to be in their home state. In 1963, they approached the American Civil Liberties Union to fight their case in court. After an extensive legal battle, in June of 1967, the Supreme Court ruled that laws prohibiting interracial marriage was unconstitutional. This ruling changed the laws across the board in every state. In several states, the old law remained on the books, but the victory of this landmark case, Loving v. Virginia, rendered any old law unenforceable, ensuring no one else would have to endure this kind of violating treatment that the Lovings did. The last law officially prohibiting interracial marriage was appealed in Alabama in 2000. That was just 21 years ago. I think for me, one of the most alarming and eye-opening findings as I deep dive into Black history in America is to find out how close these events are to my life. I am floored as to how recent so many of these events are. I'm glad I decided to do this deep dive, and I'm sharing with you all because I imagine I'm not the only one who appreciates the information. So don't forget to turn on your notification bell so every time I drop a new video, this month especially, you'll know it. And of course, subscribe to Annie's Blue Couch. Hit the thumbs up on this video and leave me a comment with any questions or add-ons you want to share for today's conversation on interracial love in America. I usually say this in the beginning, but I'll say it here. Please do me a huge favor and share this video with at least 2 of your friends. Until next time, remember, you are beautiful, you are special, your smile is amazing, and don't let anyone or anything ever make you feel less than who and what God has designed you to be. Annie's crew, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Bye for now.
Annie's Blue Couch.